How many times have you answered the question, how are you, with the answer, stressed, right? We walk around stressed out as if it's like a normal state. It's almost like the answer that we talked about at the beginning of the month with busy. I'm so busy. I'm so stressed. It's like a badge of honor, except that it's probably obviously not good for us, right? And I think we're all aware of the health problems that can come from being stressed out all of the time. There's two types of stress. There's the kind that's healthy for us, and that's like short-term stress that has like a result. It has an end point in sight, and that kind of stress is kind of actually good for us and kind of fun and helpful. The kind that's not good for us is this chronic kind, where we're just feeling stressed out, kind of low level anxiety and stress all the time. And it is really, really common to feel that way. So, luckily, there's something we can do about that actually pretty easily. We talked yesterday about being mindful in our everyday life, as we go about cooking and washing our hands and um, we just had the chocolate meditation. So when we eat, we can be mindful. And it's the same with this. We can do things to de stress easily throughout our day. And the way we do that is by stimulating the vagus nerve. So if you haven't heard of the vagus nerve, it's VAGUS, not Vegas like Las Vegas. But it's a really powerful nerve that goes all the way from our brains down into our bellies. Um, it is our brain to gut connection. And it's basically the counterbalance to our sympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic nervous system is the one that gets activated in times of stress and triggers that fight, flight, or freeze response. Um, and so when we're chronically stressed, we have the sympathetic system is activated. And so to calm the sympathetic nervous system down, we need to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Those two are like counterbalanced. So to stimulate this vagus nerve, there's a lot of different things, but today we're just going to talk about breathing. This is something else that I noticed really changed for me once I started my regular yoga practice. Breathing, it seems crazy to think about breathing until you learn that you're not breathing correctly. And I definitely was not breathing correctly. Get mindful of your breathing and see what you're doing throughout the day. I would be doing things where I would breathe into my chest and I would kind of hold my breath. And that is very anxiety producing on its own. It kind of rolls with the anxiety, right? Like you feel anxious and stressed, and so you hold your breath, and that makes you feel even more anxious and stressed. But it's a response a lot of us do without even noticing it. So now, after doing years of yoga and breath work, I actually find that when I get triggered with something, the first thing I do is take a big deep breath. It's like a reflex now. And that is the kind of breathing that can stimulate the vagus nerve. It's that deep belly breathing. So when a lot of people breathe, they're only breathing into their chest area, in through here and through maybe the rib cage. But what we want to do is pull air all the way down into the belly. Granted, air can't really go down into the belly because the lungs don't go down that far, but that is what it feels like. The whole belly expands and moves out, and our lungs really fill to their maximum capacity. So, well, not really to their maximum capacity, but They get a lot more air than we normally get on our normal shallow chest breathing. So pulling in that breath, just take a deep breath right now and just pull air in down into your belly, nice and slow. And then another trick is to let the air out slower than you inhaled it. So the exhale is longer than the inhale. And there's all sorts of breath practices you can do to build that. But a really easy one is just to count your inhale and then make your exhale a longer count. So whatever number works for you, it could be 4, that you inhale to a count of 4, and then you exhale to 6, or maybe you exhale to 8. And you just do a few rounds of this deep breathing that's nice and slow with the extended exhale, and you will actually trigger that vagus nerve, which will help calm your body down at a nervous system level, at a cellular level. And the more you do practices that stimulate the vagus nerve, there's all kinds of different ones. You can put your legs up the wall. That's like one of my favorite yoga positions. You can tie your legs together with a belt or a strap if you want, and just hang out with your legs up the wall. It feels so good, and just lay flat on the ground, or even on your bed with your legs up the headboard. That one, you can gargle water. You can put ice water on your face. Eating fiber in your diet. All of these things help stimulate that vagus nerve. But I think the easiest one that's like the most accessible is just the breath. Just getting in touch with the breath and noticing, starting to notice and be mindful of when we're holding the breath. Because we all do it. I do it a lot less frequently now, but I still do it. So I'll find myself like, oh, I'm totally like holding my breath and clenched up. And just letting that go by breathing actively, slowing down, deepening the breath. So when you breathe, like I said, you want to really feel it down in your belly and actually let your belly expand, feel it go out. And that, ideally, that would be your everyday breath. You would always be breathing down into that belly space, not stopping the breath up here in the shallow chest area. All right, so that's that for tonight. Yeah, just getting mindful about your breath, what you're doing with your breath, if you're holding it, and then mindfully, when you notice that you are feeling any stress, or you're noticing that you're clenching or holding your breath, actively trying out slower breathing, longer exhales. All right, thank you for joining me. If you're watching the Super Bowl tomorrow, enjoy that. Take care.